Today on Time About the Movies, we have Pixar's apology for Cars 2 with Brave. We have Tim Burton and Timur Bekmambetov, the man who gave us Wanted. Of course, I don't need to tell you what Tim Burton has done. They are working on a feature film adaptation of one of the great graphic novels of the 21st century, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. We have possibly one of my favorite underrated comedies of all time, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. And we have Woody Allen's follow-up to Midnight in Paris, his best film, To Rome with Love. So, 4 films to take a look at on this June 22nd, 2012. This is, of course, Time About the Movies. I will tell you this much, when that trailer first came up in front of Cars 2 a year before the movie actually came out, everyone who had saw the early reviews saying that the film was not that great, everyone knew this was going to be Pixar's apology for that movie. This is going to be their magnum opus. They're going to get back on track. They're going to become the Pixar that we've come to know them for. And sort of, but not really. I'll touch on it in just a second here. Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up June 22nd, 2012, and we are starting off with Disney and Pixar's Brave. Set in Scotland in a rugged and mythical time, Brave features Merida, played by Kelly MacDonald, who you may know from Trainspotting and also Choke, who's an aspiring archer and impetuous daughter of royalty. Merida makes a reckless choice and unleashes unintended peril and forces her to spring into action to set things right. And yeah, like I said, this is the complete opposite of what Cars 2 was. Great visuals, a story that's good, not great. I'll get into that in just a second. Some good, smart humor, some really solid animation, like I said, and it's a much more enjoyable experience than a movie like Cars 2 was. But let's get to the biggest flaw in the movie, and that is the story. The biggest flaw of the movie is that because the trailers don't really give you an indication of what the story is about. Essentially, Merida basically turns her mother into a bear. Gee, does that sound familiar from a Disney animated movie that came out 9 years prior? That they were really pushing hard to be the next big hit, and it really wasn't? Yeah, it's Brother Bear all over again, which it turns out, one of the writers of that movie, Brenda Chapman, is one of the people that worked on this movie. Like, we're really taking Brother Bear out into this. Like, they are trying so hard to make this into a successful movie that they have to put it in a Pixar movie. Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever why they couldn't have just gone with a simple an original concept for a storyline here. And I get it. You know, Pixar, this is not the first time they've taken from other movies. Like, Cars is reminiscent of Doc Hollywood. Bug's Life is reminiscent of Three Amigos. I mean, half the Pixar movies are the formula from Toy Story. But here, like, this one just feels like it's out in the open, and they're not even trying to hide it. Like, the thing that Merida uses to make this happen is given by this wizard who never shows up again after she shows up for a few seconds, and then she doesn't show up at the end of the movie. It's like she doesn't even exist anymore. It's just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's really the biggest problem with the movie in general, is the story. But other than that, the movie is good. It's a really good film, and you do like the main character a lot. You like Merida. You know, Kelly MacDonald, once again, giving a really good voice to this character. She creates this impressive personality for her. I liked a lot of the characters. I did like how the story did eventually pan out in the way, and it knew when to wrap things up. And I really did like the chemistry between Merida and her mother, who's voiced by Emma Thompson. I mean, it's Emma Thompson. I mean, Emma Thompson can usually never do any wrong here. And, yeah, she really is great when she's playing the mother in this. But when she does turn into the bear, I do like the chemistry that she and Merida still have. Like, the bear does not talk at all. And I really think that's a great thing to do. Because, yeah, at least they don't do what Brother Bear didn't have Joaquin Phoenix playing the voice of the bear. Is playing the bear like they did in that movie. They didn't have Emma Thompson playing the voice of the bear in this movie. Which I like the fact that the bear is still silent. And Merida's the one that can still talk to her, and they still have this kind of connection that you can still buy into. I mean, yeah, this movie, I like it. I still think it's a good movie. Do I think it's one of Pixar's best movies? No, but I will gladly take this over Cars 2 any day of the week. And I will certainly tell you this, This did not deserve to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars that year. Wreck-It Ralph should have won it. And, everyone thought Wreck-It Ralph was going to win it, and then all of a sudden Brave ended up being the winner of it, which I still don't get why that was the case. Like, Wreck-It Ralph is a much better movie than Brave is, but, Brave is a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's not one of Pixar's best movies, but it at least got them back on track after Cars 2 was such a flop for them in general. And it did sort of lead them back to some prominence in the years to come, because we got Monsters University after this, and of course Inside Out, and then they kind of faded back down with A Good Dinosaur. But we'll get to those as we go along over the next 3 years. So yeah, take that for what you will. But with all that said, that is my thoughts on Brave. Good movie, not a great movie. Not one of Pixar's best films. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
This film is not yet rated.
So this is, of course, based off of the graphic novel that came out a couple years before it, and was really, really one of the most impressive novels I had ever read. I mean, technically it's not a graphic novel, but it is a really impressive novel, taking the 16th President of the United States and putting him in a zombie movie, pretty much. And I think it's also hilarious that this movie comes out the very same year that Steven Spielberg gave us his Abraham Lincoln biopic later in the year, which I think is kind of amusing, because audiences could see a kick-ass Abraham Lincoln in this movie, and then you could see a more serious Abraham Lincoln played by Daniel Day-Lewis later in the year. But that one's definitely better than this film. It depicts a fictionalized history of the American Civil War, with the evil-monious 16th President of the United States reimagined as having a secret identity as a lifelong vampire hunter, fighting against a cast of vampiric slave owners. A concept that should be really cool to see and really fun to watch. I mean, Timur Bekmambetov is a really solid visual director. He did the Daywatch movies, he did Wanted, of course, and you have Tim Burton as one of the producers here. Seth Grahame-Smith is one of the writers on this movie. I mean, he did Dark Shadows, which was a movie that almost worked if the script had been a lot better. And again, part of the problem with the movie is the script overall. I mean, from a technical standpoint, the movie looks visually impressive. It does have that gothic feel that you feel like is right in the same vein of something from Tim Burton and Bekmambetov, but it takes itself way too seriously. It has the same problems that Cowboys and Aliens had the summer before. It took a concept that should be silly, fun, over the top, and made it way too serious for its own good. I mean, the pieces are definitely there for a good movie. Benjamin Walker, I think, does a very good job playing Abraham Lincoln. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything of noteworthiness afterwards. But you also have a cast that includes Dominic Cooper, Anthony Mackie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Rufus Sewell, Martin Soskas. I mean, there's a solid cast overall here, and a good idea, but the movie takes itself way too seriously. And, a concept like this should not be taken this seriously at all. Like, I mean, if you're going to take it serious, you got to take the Sinners approach with it. I mean, we just had Sinners not too long ago. That was a movie that took a concept like Sinners did, and made it funny, but made it fun, but also very serious too. Like, it found that balance between comedic and dramatic elements to it, with the dramatic elements being more above it than the comedic moments were. And it's my favorite movie of the year so far. That's the approach they should have taken with this movie. I mean, this movie really took itself way too seriously to the point where it was just like, lighten up already, Jesus Christ. You know what movie you're in. You're literally in a movie called Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. This should not be that hard to screw up, and yet somehow they did it with this movie. They took it way too seriously, and it ruined kind of the ebb and flow of the film that could have been something really, really special, and it just wasn't there with this one, and I was really let down by it. I think a lot of people really were let down by it overall. It wasn't a big hit when it came out, and it's kind of hard not to see why when you really look at the finished project overall. A good concept, based off of a really good novel, but execution was just not there, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. So let's go ahead and move on to the best overall movie of the week, and really one of my favorite underrated comedies of the last 25 years. This movie is so much better than the trailer I'm about to show you actually makes it out to be. Let's talk about Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. So yeah, you can kind of see the first real problems with the marketing for the movie, and that is the fact that they tried to sell it as a Judd Apatow frat pack comedy. This is not that type of a movie, and it's made by people who have not been associated with that type of a comedy before. This is directed by Lorraine Scafaria, who also would later go on to direct Hustlers at the end of the decade. Two really solid films from this director. This is actually her directorial debut. The premise of the movie is that you have Steve Carell and Keira Knightley leading this all-star cast in this film about, the world is coming to an end because an asteroid's about to wipe out all of Earth, and they're reacting in their own unique ways to the announcement that this asteroid is going to hit the Earth. He wants to return to his first love. She just wants to get back to her family, and the unlikely comparisons respective journeys converge, the outlooks, if not the worlds, brighten in surprising and hilarious ways. And, this is a movie where it really does show you what Steve Carell's capabilities are of an actor as a whole. I mean, the guy's a great comedic actor, don't get me wrong, but he's never had that real opportunity. He's very rarely at this point in time had an opportunity to show what he could do as a dramatic actor. I've been very impressed with the film choices that he's taken since leaving The Office. He could have gone down the Will Ferrell route, where he just did more comedic roles, but he's been doing more dramedy since he left The Office a year earlier. And that's pretty cool that he stepped out of his norm to become one of the more prolific actors of the time, and he still is very much a likable actor even to this very day. I was really impressed by how much I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I was hoping for something good, but I got way more than I expected from it. And it's a movie that it reminds me a lot of The Big Year from the previous year. A movie that you don't really go into it expecting a whole lot. And again, bad marketing kind of hurt it in the long run. But in the end, when you actually watch the movie, you get a whole lot more out of it than you were expecting. And it turns out to be this incredible film. What makes this work is that the story and plot are very well done and fairly constructed to a T. There's a great mix between comedy and drama, and it fits in the film to make it make sense. No point in the film that feels like it's out of the norm or doesn't feel like it should be there. Everything feels authentic in every way, shape, or form. Carell and Keira Knightley are great in this. This is probably their best performance that I've seen from them at that point in time, especially from Carell, who was getting more opportunities to do more dramatic roles. I mean, yeah, he did stuff like Little Miss Sunshine before this, but, this is him taking on kind of a more serious role in general. But this worked very well for him. He has great chemistry with Keira Knightley. The cast overall is really great. You got a lot of, they make a big deal out of the fact that you see Rob Corddry and Patton Oswalt, like they're part of the story. They only show up in about the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then they're gone. Like, the movie features a whole bunch of notable people in here. You see Melanie Linsky from Two and a Half Men, Connie Britton from Friday Night Lights, Derek Luke, Martin Sheen, Amy Schumer, one of her early film roles. You get William Peterson, Gillian Jacobs, T.J. Miller, Nancy Carell, Steve Carell's wife, Martin Sheen, like I said before. I mean, this is a really stacked cast of really talented people in here. And the dark comedy elements actually worked really well, as well as the crazy things people were doing. You see people going insane to newscasters saying fuck on national television. You got that scene where they're going to the Frenzies restaurant where everybody's giving up, they're doing like all these sexually suggestive things. There's even a part in this movie near the end where I thought they were going to do a parody of the infamous Bud Dwyer suicide on national television. If you weren't living in Pennsylvania in 1987, this was a pretty big deal, because like Bud Dwyer, like the big thing was he killed himself on national television, but they kind of stepped away from that, which I thought would have been going too far, but I gotta give them credit for almost going there. But part of the reason the movie jumps to that whole other level starts towards the end of the movie. You got this great scene where, where Steve Carell's character Dodge makes amends with his father, played by Martin Sheen. And then you have this montage of the last bit of time everyone has together as Dodge sends Penny to see her dad with the song The Air I Breathe by the Hollies playing in the background. And it's beautifully handled. It's an emotional powerhouse of a scene. It really is one of my favorite scenes in movie history. I mean, the best part about this movie is that it doesn't pull out cop-out bullshit, saying that the world is ending in some other way, or the world, the asteroid's just gonna miss us. No, everything's fine. Everything's gonna be A-okay. No, this is like Deep Impact. That asteroid's going to hit the Earth, and millions of people are going to die. The world is literally coming to an end at the end of the movie. The asteroid hits, the movie is over. It doesn't cop out, and the film ends with the world ending, like I said. That was the deciding factor to whether or not this movie would be good. They didn't pull some bullshit like Swing Vote there, where it's just like, who do you think Kevin Costner chose? You make the decision. No, you're a movie. Make that decision for us. The movie doesn't do that, and it works because of it. I love this movie to death. I have no flaws with it whatsoever. I can't even think of a flaw that's wrong with it. This is a movie that really, really deserves a lot more attention than it deserves. It's such a damn good movie, and I think it needs all the attention now more than ever. It's a fantastic movie, one of the best underrated movies ever made. Seek this one out if you have not seen it. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. See it, check it out. You will not be disappointed by it at all. So there you go. That's my thoughts on that movie. Easily the best film of the week. So let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here. Woody Allen following up his best film from the year before, Midnight in Paris, with another film set in Europe, I think. Yeah, Europe. Rome's in Europe, right? Anyway, I'll let you know after I'm done with this. To Rome with Love.
Your best friend's boyfriend. Doesn't matter what the venue is.
You will never understand women.
That's been proven.
To Rome with Love. It on. Opens in New York and LA, June 22nd.
And yes, the correct answer is that Rome is indeed in Europe. Rome is in Italy, and Italy is in Europe. So there you go. But To Rome with Love, this is a story told in 4 separate vignettes. You have a clerk who wakes up to find himself a celebrity, an architect who takes a trip back to the street he loves as a student, a young couple on their honeymoon, an Italian funeral director whose uncanny singing abilities enraptures his soon-to-be in-law, an American opera director. And you've got a stacked cast that includes Alec Baldwin, Ellen Page, Greta Gerwig, Jesse Eisenberg, Penelope Cruz. I mean, this is a cast that's coming in here after Woody Allen makes his best movie in years, like easily his best film in general, Midnight in Paris, and you're expecting another great movie like that film. Well, sad to say that this movie is pretty lousy, and I think it really suffers mostly because, one, it really feels like Woody Allen's trying way too hard to copy somebody else's style of filmmaking, because this feels like a movie. This feels more like a Wes Anderson knockoff movie than a Woody Allen film. It also doesn't help that a lot of the good talent in here can't really save the film in general. Yeah, you got nice shots of Rome in general and some good stories to tell, but they just aren't there. And I really felt like Woody Allen saw how successful Midnight in Paris was and said, I want to make another movie like that, and I want to do it this time in Rome. And there's a way you could do that, but this just isn't it. I don't think the writing is as strong. I don't think the comedy is as good. The romance isn't as appealing. I mean, yeah, you got Penelope Cruz looking sexy as always, but, I mean, you got to give her something to do besides just looking sexy. I mean, the movie 9 at least made her sexy and gave her something to do. This did not. I mean, this movie was really a major, major letdown for me. Like, it really did feel like Woody Allen tried to make Midnight in Paris again and just kind of failed miserably. He missed that uplifting atmosphere that made Midnight in Paris the masterpiece that it was. And To Rome with Love definitely is not that. A major, major step down. I was really disappointed by it. I thought could have been a much better movie made with this, and it just wasn't there. So, major disappointment on To Rome with Love. That's going to wrap this episode of Time About the Movies up. And I got to say, June is looking like a pretty solid month overall. We've had a lot of great movies. There have been no real duds overall, except for a few that I've mentioned. But we're wrapping it up big time next week next time around with 5 really solid movies all across the board. I take that back. I see one bad movie here. So, I mean, 5 out of 6 still isn't bad. But we have 6 movies to look at, including Seth MacFarlane making his feature directorial debut with Mark Wahlberg and a CG teddy bear named Ted. And how much do I love the movie? Just wait until tomorrow, and I'll have a little bit of a surprise to you for this particular review. But we also have Steven Soderbergh's Magic Mike, starring Channing Tatum and Matthew McConaughey among its cast. A movie about male strippers that not only the females can like, but the ladies can like, but also the guys can like too. At least this guy liked it. But we have Tyler Perry returning as the role of Medea with Eugene Levy, who apparently never learned his lesson from the man, with Medea's witness protection. We have a movie that doesn't get as much attention that I really feel like it does need. I mean, not quite Seeking a Friend for the End of the World good, but Chris Pine and Elizabeth Banks starring in People Like Us was actually much better than I expected it to be. We also have one of the big Oscar contenders for the year, Beast of the Southern Wild, featuring a breakthrough performance by the young actress Quvenzhané Wallis. We'll take a look at that film. We actually got an Academy Award nomination, actually the youngest actress to get nominated for an Oscar at that point. And then we also have Take This Waltz. So we have 6 films to take a look at, a stacked show. We'll take a look at all these films coming up tomorrow on the show. So please stay tuned for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.